Alpert. I am the rabbi of Congregation Techia, which is a sweet Reconstructionist congregation serving the Metro Detroit area. Well, I'll just say, since my sister just posted it the other day, this really adorable picture of me as a little one with huge curly hair holding a feather, because we were doing bedikat chametz, the search for the chametz, the breadcrumbs around the house the night before Passover. So I do remember that ritual so well, going around the house with a candle and a spoon and a feather and sweeping up all the chametz. Well, I was voted most likely to be a rabbi when I was in the 8th grade. So I guess I'd say some other people had the idea before I did. It took a little while for me to figure out that that was a training and a path and a role that I could take on to do my passion, which is integrating the work of spiritual justice with so I went to rabbinical school in 2008 or 2009. Is getting to be close with people when they're in important life cycle moments. I especially love kind of co-creating ritual with people to help them move through transitions in their lives. It's probably Havdallah. Havdallah is the ritual we do on Saturday night to say goodbye to Shabbat, and it's so visceral, right? We have fire and spices and wine, and it's really joyful. So actually, one of the first things I did when I came to Techia was start a monthly Havdallah gathering, which has been really wonderful. My favorite prayer is what's known as the bathroom prayer. It's the prayer that one says when they have left the bathroom and done their business. It's also a prayer that we say on Shabbat morning and at Techia. It's in the Siddur, and I love practices that we can integrate into our day, right? And so I find that one, especially in the pandemic and COVID, just any opportunity that we have to be grateful for all the things about our bodies that do work is a really powerful practice. Okay. Hands down, Sukkot. Why? Because I love being outside. I love being with people outside. It's really, after the intensity of the high holidays, it feels really good to have that spaciousness and to go out and connect with people out in nature. I mean, I know there are Jewish foods from around the world that I have not yet developed a deep enough relationship to, but as an Ashkenazi Jew, I can say that my favorite Ashkenazi Jewish food is kugel. and you're going to ask potato or cheese. Were you going to ask that? Because that is the next question. And the answer is cheese. And actually, when my first kiddo was in utero, we called them the kugel until they were born. And so that was really sweet, but it also meant that people thought it was funny to bring us kugel for weeks and weeks and weeks after the baby was born to test me to see just how much do I really love kugel. So I didn't get sick of it though. For me, Judaism is a technology that is supposed to like expand and deepen our consciousness, like to wake us up, really, just in every sense, from, like I said about the bathroom prayer, from like the most personal to the communal, to the national, universal, environmental, right? Like to give us strategies and scaffolding for kind of managing all of those levels of consciousness, and doing that in a way that keeps us grounded and connected to history and more deeply to each other. What's put on your seatbelt, like hang on to your hats, like be ready for anything. Like the rabbinate that I grew up with is not the rabbinate that I am entering into. And that's only going to continue to change. And especially in Detroit, I've just found everything changes so quickly. So if you can do anything to be ready to do this work, is just to learn how to adapt. Well, some folks that meet me now might be surprised to know that I wasn't planning on being a congregational rabbi. So my background before rabbinical school was in community organizing around racial and economic justice. And it was primarily that work that brought me to Detroit to found Detroit Jews for Justice. And I always was interested in, I always loved synagogue life and ritual life and davening and all that stuff. But kind of my focus had been social justice. And so they would be surprised now that 7 or 8 years later, I am full-time working at the congregation. And while it was, hard to transition from my professional role with Detroit Jews for Justice, I feel really excited to lean in more to the congregational side of Jewish life and spend more time studying Torah, spend more time with people, and also remember what it's like to do social justice as, just an activist, not someone who gets to do activism, full time for her work. So I'm excited to kind of figure out alongside with my congregants, like, how do we build this work into our lives? Well, if anyone from Tehia is watching this, hi, I love you. I really do. I am so blessed. I have the quirkiest, warmest, most passionate. Well, all the rabbis are going to say that. All the other congregations are wonderful too, but this is just such a good shidduch. It's such a good match. I feel so, so lucky to be allowed to be my whole self at Tehia, to bring all the parts of me into that space. And I really hope we're doing a good job making that true for everybody else who walks in the literal or virtual door. And my message to the rest of the Jewish community is, well, actually, I think a message that might make sense for the rest of the Jewish community is like, hey, let's do social justice work together. Like, let's all meet up through Detroit Jews for Justice, right? Like, our congregations are, please let our congregations continue to thrive and grow. And there's so much important work we can do there. And, let's all come together through there's other amazing organizations through which we can do that work as well. I'm particularly passionate about that model of community organizing. I think it's really, it's missing, and it's very, very valuable. And I think that the way that we're going to continue to make Judaism relevant for the next generation is by, as Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, Zichrono Livracha, said, praying with our feet, right? And to make Judaism relevant to the biggest issues of our day, right? Climate justice, racial justice, economic justice. There won't be a future for us to have a strong Jewish community if we don't have a strong society. And we can play a really pivotal role as a partner in those movements to build that world.